what's up, y'all? Y'all probably know me. I'm Christian Phillips, and this is my friend Cam.
My name's
So,
Cam. I run track with Christian, and I'm happy to be on the podcast. So, yeah.
yeah, but today we'll be talking about like our experiences with, I would say, being a Christian in college, because I'm not necessarily sure like where y'all are, but I'm a sophomore in college.
I'm a freshman.
He's a freshman. We're both on the track team, so basically we I would say we have like varying different viewpoints on it because like he's from Louisiana where our college is, but then I'm from Illinois, so we come from like two different backgrounds. But it's just basically our experiences with college. So
Yeah.
basically, being a freshman, what would you say is your experience right now?
Um, Let me just speak on the college first, and then I'll kind of broaden my way out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I knew first off the rip, there were going to be distractions. Um, but I knew beforehand during the summer, I felt like God really worked with me in isolation because I feel like a lot of people don't like isolation and they don't like their season of wilderness. But being a freshman, there's going to be a lot of people telling you you need to do this, need to do that. But
Yeah.
you and a lot of people go into college, I feel like trying to find themselves,
Mm-hmm.
but when you're a Christian and when you are embedded in God, you already know what your meaning of life is. So when you get to college and all these distractions come at you, it's really good to have pretty much the armor of God to block you off from all those things. So being a freshman, first semester went by pretty good. Grades and all that were good, but there were definitely some difficulties, especially the last 2 months of me going into winter break. Christian knows, but we won't get into all that. But yeah, there were definitely some challenges, but I was able to bounce back and be stronger in God. So yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I would say that basically like my experience, I'm talking from like last year. So basically, when I came into college, I was basically I had still had like a knowledge of who God is. I wouldn't say like it's as deep it is right now, but I would say that I was like a in like some sort of like level at it. So it was basically like I knew what was right and wrong
Mm-hmm.
mostly. So it was basically like, but I would just say that most of the time I was more engulfed with the idea of like idolizing like women. I mean,
Yeah.
like a lot of people can speak on this, but I would say like specifically for this college, I would say coming into this college, I would say one major difference that like really stuck out to me is just like how like attractive like people are at Southern
Yeah.
University.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just talking from like a physical aspect. There
Mm-hmm.
are many attractive people, so then I would say that's basically where like distractions began for me. Basically, where I would idolize women more than God. So then in
Mm-hmm.
the end, so I was basically like seeking women only to be like left short or like always fall short because obviously like women can't. I'm saying like obviously that no person or anything on this earth can give you the grace that God gives us or like the comfortability that God gives us.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
that was
I'm
basically something that I had to basically work with
yeah.
to deal with. But over the year, I've gotten pretty better at it. I've been more focused on God. It's just I have to make sure to keep it under
Yeah.
under God.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Cause me and Christian are like really, really big fans of the More Purpose podcast,
Hmm.
and I was watching one of their latest videos with Clarence and his brother, and they were basically saying how like college is like basically Sin City. Like
Yeah.
like there's literally so much. I mean, there's stuff going on every single weekend. You can
Got
get
parties every weekend.
parties Saturday, Friday night, and being at a HBCU, it's definitely easy to get off track. Even if you're not a Christian, even if you going into college, you want to get into your career and stuff like that. It's very easy to get, you know, off track and be in college for another year or two just because you weren't focused. So speaking on females specifically, there's a lot of beautiful females on campus. Well, that's with any college,
Hmm.
but I feel like God tells us if our right eye causes us to sin, then
Yeah.
pluck it out, which isn't literal, but
I mean, for some people it can be.
Yeah,
But
yeah. For some people it can be, but I feel like we just need to take that into consideration when we go out of our rooms, out of our holding place when we talk to God and ask Him to give us the armor of Him, because it can really be hard to go out there with no armor and just have all these thoughts going in, and then thoughts turn into sin, and sin turns into death. So it's really good to have that protection over you. And that all comes with strengthening your relationship with God, because we can get so wrapped up in trying not to sin that we end up sinning even more. So if you keep your head straight, everything will fall into line. So yeah, that's about it on the female aspect of it.
Yeah, but I would say that's something that also I've learned as well, because at first I would say in my journey of being like a Christian, I was like, this is right, this is wrong, so I should base it on it. But then what we tend to leave out, I feel like I talked about this a lot, but what the thing that we typically leave out is the fact that we are still human.
Yeah, exactly.
So like you still have human desires, you still are a human being, so it's like you can't try to be perfect. I mean, you could try to be perfect, but we have to remember that God says we will always fall short.
Exactly.
So I wouldn't say to necessarily like beat yourself up over it. Like for when you sin, I wouldn't say to beat yourself up over it, but I would say to give yourself a grace, but also set certain like precautions of ways that you can practically try to avoid sin.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Some people are more drastic than others, but it also depends on you and I would say the discernment that God gives you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think another thing that I want to speak on is how do you go about handling, because you do a lot. I mean, just track and school is enough on its own. So how do you manage photography, track, being a student, and being a Christian? Doing all those things. Trying to be successful in all of them.
I would say that basically, like for me, what I've basically found out is that this sounds like cliche, but like if I like seek God, God will like provide everything else.
Yeah.
So I know that like for specific seasons, there will be more focuses on certain things. So there have been times where I focused more on track than everything else, and then I know I ended up getting hurt last year during track season, so I focused more on, I would say, photography during that time. So it's basically, for when we seek God, we have to basically seek God, and then like it says, if you seek God, everything else will come into pass. So I would say like that's just something that I've just learned to do. But let me see, what else is? What's the question again?
How do you manage to do photography, track, school, and still be a Christian and put God first over all those things? Because I'm gonna speak on it too.
Yeah, but I would say something that's like recently happened is that like I know that like last semester, I'm gonna say this, like for spring semester, I've gotten like a certain amount of like people who like would come to me for like their photos and videos, but then like last semester people weren't really coming to me, so I'm trying to ask God like, what am I supposed to focus on? Because right now my money was like running low, and now I'm trying to figure out what do I do. So then like part of me is like I just need to work, but then we have to realize that that's not who God is, because remember that even when God went around places, when he went around healing people, he still took time to take breaks. So we have to be more practical of taking breaks and spending time with God, and then everything else will be like added to it. So then I would say that as I acknowledged that was happening, and I basically spent the time focusing more on God, now like since we're coming back for college, I have like a numerous amount of people coming to me like out of nowhere about photography and videography and all this stuff like that. So basically I can just like say that when you seek God, he'll just like provide what he feels like is right for you.
And the thing that you said, even Jesus takes rest. A lot of people forget that. Like Jesus was perfect. He died for our sins, but he was human. He was flesh. He didn't have human desires, but he was still in the flesh. So he still took rest. And sometimes we can get like, I'm not paying bills right now, but I hope not to get in the mindset of, all right, God, we got to pay these bills. Like, how am I going to pay these bills, this and that. But I feel like when we put all our eggs in one basket, like, say I put all my eggs in track, when track doesn't go well, then my whole world falls apart. If I'm like you and I put all my eggs in photography and got to do this photo shoot, and then when people aren't coming asking me, then my world falls apart because photography isn't lifting me up. But all these things, even though they might be good things, track, eating healthy, staying fit, photography, all these things, even though they might be beneficial to our life, they're not consistent. So God is the only consistent thing that we can always rely on to kind of pick us up and keep us going, because God never changes. You might get injured and then be out for the season. That's a change. Your photography business might be on a hold because some equipment got stolen. That's gonna change. That's a change. Just stuff like that. So when you don't put all your eggs in one basket, but put them all in God's basket, everything else, like I said before, falls into place. So yeah.
But I would also say that, like, Jesus basically was, I feel like he also did have the desires. He just, I feel like he did have the human desires. He just didn't act on it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, like, obviously, like, Satan tempted him.
For 40 days. Yeah.
Yeah, there was, like, that story, 40 days and 40 nights. But then you also have to realize that going from place to place, spending, like I would say, like, during his ministry, I think his ministry was about, like, 3 years.
Yeah.
But during 3 years, I'm sure he came up for something that wasn't necessarily written, because I know that in the Bible also says that he performed so many miracles that it isn't all written in there. So I know there has been a time where he's been, like, walking somewhere, or he's, like, talking to someone, and then a certain temptation comes up, because I'm just speaking from me, for example. So let's say I'm talking to people about God, and then someone comes with you in a certain way.
Yeah.
Obviously, I would feel like I would have to respond out of, like, anger, but you have to realize that he probably just, like, he thought of it, but then he probably seeks to God before everything else.
Exactly. Responding and not reacting with your human tendencies, because, bro, we are some ugly people, bro. Like, bro, we will cuss people out and then be in church the next day. Like, that's crazy. I feel like we really have to, like, when we went to the Lighthouse Church, and the pastor was like, whenever he was looking at himself in the mirror, and he said, and God was talking to him, he was like, you are the devil. Like, you are the one that gets in your own way. So, speaking back to the main topic about college, sometimes it's okay to say no to things. Like, it's okay to not go to that party. I mean, when I first entered college, I wanted to. This is supposed to be your most fun 4 years of your life. It is, but at the same time, know what your main goal is, and that's to serve Christ. If going to that party is gonna bring you out of that zone, then don't go. And sometimes I wouldn't say you have to put yourself in that predicament, but, like, whenever I went to a concert that was on campus, I mean, I went there with I already knew what everything was gonna be about, but me leaving that campus, I went with the other Christian. He runs on the team too. Me leaving that concert, I was like, man, yeah, like now I know for sure, like, this isn't the life that I wanna live. I felt so much conviction leaving that concert that I just wanted to. And then when you not even sin, but when you feel tempted, and even if you do sin, it's almost like, man, I don't even want to talk to God because I feel so guilty and like bad. But yeah, that's how the devil gets you. He'll tempt you with something that you know isn't good, and then when you sin, it's like it wasn't even all that good. Like, so, yeah, I feel like we have to look at ourselves and make sure we're in the right, responding to people the right way, the way Jesus sees people, and the way Jesus will respond to people, and not reacting with our human nature.
But what would you say is a way that God would react to certain situations?
I'm gonna say like this morning. I was I had read my Bible this morning, and we had a workout this morning that I didn't really understand or really didn't know why we were doing it, and I could have easily got mad and I could have been asking God, do this, do this, do that, but there's certain things that God puts in our life that we have to say, don't change the situation, change me.
Mm-hmm.
So we always have to. And when you accept God into your life and the Holy Spirit starts working in you, you start reacting to people and you start forgiving people. Even the little things, when you feel like somebody hurts you, you forgive them. Like there's a verse that says, don't don't go to bed angry, or don't let the night come
Mm-hmm.
in anger and be in wrath. So yeah, I feel like, and once you get more into the Bible, you see how God responds to things, how Jesus responds to things, and Jesus is obviously the most perfect example to take heed of when responding to certain situations and facing adversity, because adversity is only a character motor. It only builds us up. When God places things in our lives, it's not to hurt us. It's always to build us up and make us better versions of ourselves. So another thing, speaking back on sin, when the devil tries to attack you, like when the
Because he will.
yeah, as he will. That video from a Moral Purpose podcast, when the dude was saying that the devil isn't trying to attack you in your present moment, he's trying to attack you
Your future.
Yeah, for your future. He's trying to attack you now, so you won't become that person that God has for you in the next 3 months, 3 years, 4 years, because God has things lined up for you, and He's preparing you now. He's preparing you now in your season now for when you come across those things.
Because I already know I'm not gonna get like in too much detail of it, but I know like when I was younger, there was like a lot of events that was like happening that could have like it quickly like steered me away.
Yeah.
So like I know like when I was younger, I was like bullied a lot. So then I had like anger, and then I would say like there was a phase where I was like depressed, and then I wanted to like I wanted to like die. So then it's basically like during that time at this time I grew up in the church, so I basically had some idea of who God was.
Some foundation.
Yeah, so I'm trying to ask God like, why am I doing this? Like, what purpose do I have here? And then obviously I don't feel like I end up getting like the answer then, but I know that throughout like as my life changed, as my life progressed, I've gotten to the point like where like today where I'm actively seeking God. So obviously if I did end up dying when I was like 10, 12 years old, then obviously I wouldn't be able to impact people the way that I am now, or even talk to Jesus to people the way that I am now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a lot of things that could have changed, but that's just something that was like for me.
Mm-hmm. How would you describe your journey as being a Christian and then transitioning into college? What things did you have to change, or customs did you have to change going into college, knowing that you weren't going to have your personal space and this and that, and did you have to change your routine and stuff like that?
I would say that I had to change my routine like slightly. I mean, like obviously like certain people have like certain tendencies, certain problems.
Yeah.
So I know that I wasn't the type of person. I used to be angry, but now I'm staying in a spot where I'm not really an angry person anymore. So that's not really one of my problems. Also, cursing. I've never cursed my I'm gonna say I never cursed my life, but I'm gonna say that I don't have the tendency to curse. And then I know I've always grown up to where my dad was like, cursing is not something that we do. So that's never been like really a problem. But I would say that one of the things that I had to change was that, especially like this semester, I had to focus more on finding alone time, because I noticed how like being in college, especially when you have like a group of friends that are on the same track team as us, I felt like there was always a time where like they're always around me. I'm not saying that's a problem, but I'm saying that like if for me trying to grow my spiritual journey around people who aren't necessarily at the same level as with their Christian journey or haven't started a Christian journey, then that is where like a lot of problems began, where like they would ask, hey, let's go to this party, and then I would go out of the, like it's basically like something like God always convicted me of parties, but it's just like I've never felt like comfortable or like felt like I belonged there.
Yeah.
So it's basically like I would end up going because I didn't want to be alone. So I basically had to almost like isolate myself in certain times so I can be used to being by myself, functioning by myself, so then I can spend more alone time with God for Him to guide me through everything.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like, cause I feel like when you accept God into your life, it's like when you first accept Him into your life, it's like that honeymoon phase in a relationship with a girl, and then as you start to get
Same thing with concerts too.
yeah, same thing, bro. It's the same.
For like
thing,
Christian
bro.
concerts and stuff.
Yes,
where like
bro.
you be leaving like the 3 day like festival and like you'd be feeling like if someone was to you would be waiting for the moment someone say I don't know Jesus and you just be ready.
I got you, bro. Don't even trip. I got you, bro. But yeah, yeah. I feel like accepting God into your life like that first couple months when you accept God into your life, it's like that honeymoon phase. Everything is just you feel on top of the world. But as you get deeper and deeper into your walk with Christ, you see how difficult it can be. Just like when you marry somebody, after that honeymoon phase, and y'all really start to intertwine and get to know each other, you can see how difficult marriage can be, if it's not aligned with God. But when you're with God, I remember during cause 2020 during COVID is when I accepted God into my life. But during like the year 21 and 22, I was like very very lukewarm. Like I would say I would be in my Bible here and there, but I would listen to a lot of secular music, which is something I still have to work on, and I would just like be in and out of it. But I feel like before college, the summer going into college, during isolation, and sometimes isolation can be a little it is lonely, and you feel like nobody else is around you, and it's also a time where you feel like this godly relationship is easy because you have no temptation. You're just at the house reading your Bible, this and that, and then when you get to college, it's a whole different ball game. But yeah, I feel like I didn't really have to change my schedule that much. I still do the same things I do at home. I've had to arrange my schedule a little bit because the devil, he's smart and he'll use you being busy as him trying to get you away from God. But if you have to constantly, I think, plan out when you can spend time with God, because if you have a 8 o'clock practice, you might have to wake up at 5 to spend 30 minutes, 40 minutes with God, just to lay that foundation for your day and then end your night with God. But it's definitely hard when you're sleepy, when you're tired, but you just have to ask God to give you your strength, give you that strength. But one other question I want to ask, and probably the final question, how do you think it would be easier for people like you and me and people out there who are Christians, who are trying to find Christians like them or people like them?
I would say that the one thing you have to do is just that when I would say it also depends on where you are. So like let's say let's say for the people in the college environment, I'm sure that there's around how many people are on this camp, I'm sure someone else there is Christian. So if you have like let's say you start some practical things you can start doing is that when you start like posting stuff about Christians, you might also find other people who post about Jesus, and then you can start trying to connect with them. Or like let's say you are just like in your classes in everyday life, if you like talk about Jesus, or if you just try to get to know certain people, you might just find out that the person that's been sitting next to you all class
was Christian. Yeah,
was Christian. So it's basically like you just have to go out there and then Jesus will do the rest.
Yeah.
But that's something that you can do in college. Some things that you can do at home is like that's can apply with like school in general. But I would say like let's say you're not in school, some things you can do is wherever you go outside to, wherever you spend the most time to. So like if you're on Instagram, just search like Christian, like if you have like certain Christian pages that you go, just like use them as like a stepping stool, and then once you just like go around trying to find people will just naturally come to you. But that's just basically the one thing.
Because being a Christian and feeling like you're the only one on campus, which you're not, Having people like minded like you and having Christian friends are very very beneficial, especially when you're in sorrow. You feel like you can't get out of certain things. Like I know sometimes you've lifted me up, and there's going to be times that I lift you up and give you advice on things, and then you give me advice on things, and we just bounce off each other with stuff. But one thing that I don't even know if I said this prayer while I was in the summer, but I've constantly been asking God to uh, bring me more friends like minded like me and Christian friends, just so I can build my relationship around them. Because it can be hard to be to feel like you're the only Christian in your group. So when you are surrounded people like you, man, it's man, ain't no telling what y'all could do, bruh. Cause a fire is a lot better with 10 logs than one log.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so and then it just spreads and spreads, and when people see that, bro, they the thing about humans is that they like to hop on trends. They like to do things that everybody else does. So I know being a Christian isn't popular, uh, just speaking on this campus. But when people see that, and they see that you're smiling, and they see that you're always not always in a good mood, but just treating people the right way, they ask what's different about him.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that one question that they ask about you may change their lives, and you start a conversation and buy them to church, boom, their life changes just like that. So uh, I would say pray and ask God to send you people that are followers of Christ into your life, and yeah, the rest will be set.
Yeah, but this will probably where we'll end it today. But Cam will definitely be in there sometime this year. So
Yeah, I'll be back. Yeah.
all right, but we'll see you guys next time. So see y'all later.